Why do you have tubes coming from your brain?
You don't really have tubes coming from your brain, but there is lots of sort of stuff connecting to your brain. So one of the big things going in and out of your brain are the nerves that go to control your body, and they mean you can see through it with your eyes and hear with your ears. There's also tubes going into your brain which are supplying blood to the brain, because your brain uses a huge amount of the oxygen that's circulating around your body, and that's carried by your blood.
How did all the bits connect to your brain in the first place?
Many of the bits of our brain are connected together similarly across all of us. So all humans will have similar bits connected together. But interestingly, there are some bits that connect together based on our experience. So based on specifically your experience in the world, that will determine what bits will connect together.
Why is the brain so important?
If we didn't have a brain, pretty much not much would happen at all, because everything that's more or less everything that you can do, from breathing and walking through to thinking and singing, is being controlled by your brain. So brains are really important in terms of how you see the world and being able to act on the world.
Why is the brain the only part of the body that tells the body what to do?
That's a really interesting question, and it's not entirely true because, of course, other parts of our body give us signals that our brain interprets and, in some sense, tells us what to do. My tummy rumbles when I'm feeling hungry, and that's my tummy telling us it's time to eat, and the signals in my bloodstream telling us time to do that. So it might be better to think of, our brain tells us what to do, to wave our hands around, to eat our food, and to do all that sort of thing. But actually, it's interacting with the rest of our body to come up with the answer to what should we do today.
Does the brain control how our heart beats?
Okay, actually the nerves go from the brain and controls all the muscles in the body. So, yes, the brain controls our heartbeat.
Are boys' and girls' brains different?
Yes, they are different in some ways, but overall they're very similar. So they're more alike than different. And actually one thing that many people have found that look at the structure or the size of the brain is that boys on average have larger brains than girls, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have more neurons or can think better. It's actually probably related to the fact that on average boys are bigger than girls.
How heavy is our brain?
Okay, the brain weighs about 1 pound at birth and 2 pounds in primary school, and about 3 pounds as an adult.
What is the brain doing when we're doing science, playing, thinking, and working hard in school?
Okay, let's do all of them together, and then I'll do them separately. The brain uses almost 1/5 of all the calories you put into your body, so it's doing stuff all the time. But when you're using your brain to do something that you think is hard, it's not using any more of that energy. So thinking hard doesn't use any more energy than not thinking hard. So when we're doing science, we're using specific parts of our brain that might be to do with numbers or accessing facts or thinking of new ideas, but it's not doing anything extra in terms of energy use. If we think of playing, the most important of the four, because that's when we learn more, when we're exploring things, again, the brain is using different parts that are specific to the rules of the play, the social rules of the people that you're playing with, but it doesn't use any more or less energy than when you are doing science. So the third of those is thinking, and really thinking isn't any different from doing science or playing, because you have to think to do science and you have to think to play. So again, the brain isn't using any different levels of energy, it'll just be using the specific parts that are to do with what it is that you're thinking about.
Do our brains know what we are saying?
Oh, that's a very good question. It does seem that your brain does know what you're saying, and in fact, by the time you're speaking, your brain is already thinking about the next thing that you're going to say. So by the time you're actually saying words, your brain has moved on to the next thing. So a lot of what happens when you're talking is in fact planning what you're going to say, and then you can your brain sort of passes that off to speak and starts going on to the next thing.